Okay, so I'll do a quick video explaining the differences between launch control and two-step. But I actually don't have the two-step on this bike yet. So neither one of my bikes, as a state they're in right now, benefit from either one of these systems. But I want you guys to know what they are, and when I'm going to be showing them, you'll understand it. So I'm going to build a motor so it can handle a two-step or a stage 2, whatever you want to call it. We'll go into the details. But I'm probably just going to give out a CDI kit with a launch control to someone that has a fully built engine that has way too much off-the-line torque, and they want to control their launch. So I'll give them a CDI and a launch control. So we'll go into what they're doing, the two differences. So neither one of my bikes benefit from them. They're stage 1, low gearing, big tire, whatever. I'm not going to benefit from them. This engine would probably just blow up. But when I put the two-step on it, or stage 2, whatever they're called, the two-step I call it. So we're setting two limits, a lower limit and upper limit. That's because we know the engine's built to a certain amount of power to take a certain amount of RPM off the line. I'm going to do a clutch drop, or I'm going to buy an adjustable clutch that could be set to what that RPM is, right? So we want to ensure that the engine's going to rev up right to that point, right? So a two-step, we can set that lower limit and then our overall higher limit so we don't blow our engine, right? So two-step, we're stepping the timing in 2 stages, right? So hopefully that makes sense. So that's going to be in an application where we want to get more out of the engine. We want to get more power out of it, right? A launch control is when we have too much instant access to torque and we're having tire hop and we're having takeoff launch issues. So we want to control the delivery of torque to control the overall launch of the bike, the forward momentum movement of the bike. We want to control that. We want it to be giving a little less torque. We want the overall torque to still be delivered and be the same, but we want a smoother delivery of that instant beginning torque so we can have a smoother launch, grip, and takeoff. So that's launch control. So this is something I copied that's, multiple decades old, right? So launch control is quite a bit more complex than just setting 2 RPM limits. We're actually using the shifting of timing, right? So that's what we'll kind of explain right now. So on one, you're a two-step, you're revving up the engine, you got high flow, really high vacuum, and high torque potential. You're then engaging the clutch or having your clutch engaging itself like you have an automatic clutch, or you're dropping the clutch, right? And your engine's built to take it, boom, you're engaging at that RPM, you get that torque that's applied, right? So let's say because you're using a manual clutch and you're taking off 2,000 RPM higher, you're going to have a lot more torque, right? If you built the engine and it can take it, right? Your driveline can take it. You're going to be good. So you're going to have a lot more torque. So that's what a two-step is helping you to regulate that, to hold to that right before that first limit, and then your upper limit to make sure you don't blow up, right? So two-step. And then we have launch control. So this is pretty basic to understand, right? Launch control is shifting the timing so you have no power, but you have high flow. You still have high vacuum, not as high, but you still have a high level of vacuum, but no to little torque potential. There's very little torque, and high temps, you're spiking the temp of your engine, right? So these are things to consider, but that extreme delivery of torque that you had, you're still going to have that same delivery of torque, but you're going to have a nice smooth delivery of that torque now. So if you have a jumpy, bumpy tire hopping setup, you might benefit greatly from this off the line, just like many, many, many bike and car and van and truck racers have in many, many decades, right? So like I'm saying, none of this stuff is new tech, right? I just took someone's pre-existing idea, the ideology, and just made it applicable with my circuit, and it made that applicable with my ignition system that's bolt-on friendly to this bike, right? So we have two-step, which has a lower and upper limit control, right? Or just a lower control, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But you get that premise and idea, right? You're revving up the engine to it's actually producing a lot of torque, high flow, high, it's an air pump, right? High flow, high vacuum, high amount of torque, and then you're saying, now deliver that torque, bam, and you're making everything the built so it can take that instant amount of torque. An engine at a higher RPM is going to deliver more torque, right? And then launch control is an engine that probably already has a high engagement clutch, or it's built where it's producing a shit ton of torque anyways, and you're actually having grip issues, tire hop, whatnot, this, that, and the third, and you're actually just trying to get the same amount of torque delivery. You're not trying to turn anything down. You just want a slower, smoother delivery of it, just to tame things down a bit so you get more performance, right? More grip, you know, just like in the street outlaws and all that kind of shit, and what people have been